You are listening to 100.9 FM WXIR in Rochester, New York.
Extreme Independent Radio.
Worldwide, you can find us online at 1009wxir.com.
Infiltrate Radio.
All right, welcome to Infiltrate Radio. Today is July 12th, 2018, and this is episode number 11. Sarah. Holy moly.
Yeah.
And I'm Patrick.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're bringing you new music, in-studio guests, and performances, and just overall making your Thursday evening just that much better. Isn't that right, Sarah?
Absolutely.
All right, so tonight on the show we have the one, the only Mr. Benjamin, also known as Ben Sheridan, in studio to talk with us, and hopefully he's going to grace us with some music. So first up, we got a few tunes for you, and stay tuned, and we'll bring Ben into the studio. You are listening to 100.9 FM WXIR in Rochester, New York.
Extreme Independent Radio.
Worldwide, you can find us online at 1009wxir.com.
Infiltrate Radio.
Look, I've gone blown up. I just had to fill up this cup. So even though I was feeling down, no peace I found, yeah. Instead, my fuse quickly burned gone, and everything I did was wrong. But I was feeling so righteous. Won't get no good night, good night, good night kiss. Oh, seeing your face and the look I've drawn onto it, a big disgrace. Yeah, I'm boiling hot 'cause I'm lit. I'll give you space, but I'm stumbling here just a little bit too much. Just come home. Just come home. Let's see, just how bad can this get? We haven't dipped low enough yet. But I don't wanna be this way. No, it don't feel okay. 'Cause I love you lots and lots, each and all your locks. Great, the pup spreads you out and then eats you up. She keeps me up till dawn, shoots a look when I yawn. Let's not fight, I'm sorry baby, you were right. Just come home. Seeing your face and the look I've drawn onto it, a big disgrace. Yeah, I'm boiling hot 'cause I'm lit. I'll give you space, but I'm stumbling here just a little bit, just a little bit. And I'm seeing your face and the look I've drawn onto it, a big disgrace. Yeah, I'm boiling hot 'cause I'm lit. I'll give you space, but I'm stumbling here just a little bit too much. Just come home. Just come home.
Woo.
Thank you.
Ben, I've missed your voice, my friend. I've missed your
Thanks,
voice.
man.
So on the show here, we've got Mr. Ben Sheridan. So I have here you're a musician, looks like whiskey drinker and waster of time is on your bio. I don't know who wrote that for
right.
you, but
Not me.
no. So that song was called Just Home.
Just
right?
come home, yeah.
Just Come Home. I'm sorry. So I heard something about stumbling and the like in there, right? And as we're
You're way off.
all right.
You're way off.
So
yeah,
as-
just a little bit.
as we're sipping some whiskey here,
Yes.
was that song? Was there some references to drinking?
It was a little whiskey inspired, you know. Sometimes by the end of the night, you don't see things as clearly as you did in the beginning of the evening.
I have
and
no idea what you're talking
Sometimes
about.
you can't tell that till it's too late.
That's true. So was that song written specifically about a
Yes.
particular instance?
Yeah, it may have happened. I put a very large slinky foot in my mouth.
Oof.
Yeah, and so she rightfully bounced, and I was devastated and very quickly wrote a song. And then she came back home. Not that long later, she went to the store.
Ooh.
Just didn't
To
tell
get
me.
cigarettes?
Yeah,
Or she
so
go to the store
in
to
my
get cigarettes?
mind, things get very dramatic
It happens. It happens.
It does.
under
Well,
under the whiskey.
Yep, that's true.
I'm glad you're in the studio, man. So to the listeners out there, me and Ben have kind of a peppered history of musicianship, if you will, and shows we've played together.
All in a positive.
In the past, yeah.
In a positive way, though.
I don't think we've ever ended the night in an alley somewhere, passed out.
No.
So we've done pretty good, and we played the winery, that Fulkerson Winery.
Yep.
Which was a pretty fun gig. So you do a combination kind of when you play. I know we were talking earlier before we started the show here about you doing 3-hour gigs.
Yeah.
Is that the usual for you when you play?
Yeah, usually 3, sometimes 2. But yeah, usually people want more like 3.
Do you typically do like just original songs, or is it a combination of original covers? Like how do you design your set list for the?
You know, it really depends on the gig. Like my most recent gig was last Friday over for the Jazz Fest Happy Hour at Flower City Station, and
Nice.
that I knew a lot of people were going to be out and about that didn't know me or probably weren't too concerned about me. So I knew I was going to have a good time. So I played mostly covers, which I think helped. It made everybody else's time more enjoyable, but I want to play more originals, and so when I do get into the more kind of monthly standing gigs or places where I've been at for a long time, I try to play as many originals as I can because I got a good number.
How many
now.
songs do you have in your repertoire? Do you have an idea?
I would say I think it's like just short of 30.
Wow, 30.
So I can fill a good length of time because then there's a couple like loop jams that you add in, and yeah, it's getting to the point where ideally I'd love to play all original and then just select covers that I've kind of made my
Mastered or whatever.
made my own in a sense, so they're not just straightforward. There's nothing wrong with straightforward covers. But,
Yeah.
So you normally
that
play
would be
by
ideal.
yourself?
Yes,
Yep.
mostly by myself. Sometimes I consider or I do contact drummers or percussionists, but haven't always had the greatest of luck with that either.
Yeah, drummers can be a finicky bunch, Ben.
Musicians,
They're emotional.
musicians
They're
are
emotional.
artists, and artists are
Yeah.
crazy and moody and emotional.
Yep, that is
They
true.
drink whiskey and they make bad decisions.
It's very true. It's always a good decision whenever you're drinking
Yeah.
whiskey, Sarah.
Sometimes ego, maybe? Isn't that,
There could
an
be
issue
some of
with
that.
it? Ego?
There could be some of that. I don't know if that's as much of what it is with musicians as it is. Like, I think we had this conversation on a previous show. I think musicians and artists and stuff are just generally emotionally unstable people that...
And they happen to all find each other?
Yeah, that tend to find like a connection with the audience. Like
Makes
that connection
great work.
with the audience is at a distance to the point where You still feel like it's this real connection with the audience, but it's distant enough where you don't have to actually solve any problem between you and the audience necessarily, if you don't want to. So for
Not
those
up for it.
for those just tuning in, so we've got Ben Sheridan on the show here, and you're listening to WXIR, Extreme Independent Radio on 100.9 here in Rochester. So, Ben, I kind of asked this of most of the musicians that come on the show, and you said you had about 30 original songs, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll ask the question I usually ask in a moment, but I guess really the underlying thing I'm most interested in is like, how did you get into music initially? And when I say get into music, I mean most people listen to music, but not everyone ends up choosing to become a musician, not necessarily as a professional, but even with regards to me, like I have my day job, I have this radio show that I do, I have things that I do, and then I still have to go out and perform. So there's something that happens that causes people to feel like this is something they absolutely have to do, regardless of whether or not they're getting paid or what have you. Do you have any recollection of like when that?
I remember. I definitely remember being young and enjoying singing. Nothing specifically, but I remember enjoying. Well, actually, I do remember because my mom would love it / make fun of me. They would play the Moody Blues.
Were they musicians? Were your parents musicians at all, Ben?
No, they weren't. But they were definitely fans of music. They loved the Moody Blues and the Beatles. So I remember a lot of that music, and I would sing along to the songs there while I was playing, classic middle child syndrome. So I was occupying myself, and no, I loved music. And then let's see, then I remember definitely getting into starting to get into bands when you get older, because you're aware of more things, not just things that are around that you can get from your parents, or you can take from your brother's or sister's room and listen to. Then you go out and buy music. But I was also writing. I was writing a lot. I enjoyed writing because I enjoyed reading. So I think it came from that, because I was just naturally creative. And then when music came, they just naturally collided, I think. And the love of music grew in with the writing. The first song I ever wrote was a poem before it was a song. It just kind of fit. I was playing music. I was playing covers. Just like I got obsessed with Dave Matthews, just like so many other teenage white Caucasians in the 90s. I was definitely one of them, and still am deep down somewhere. But I was definitely playing music, and then it was those first couple times where you start to do something different, and you know you don't even probably really realize what's happening until it's too late, and then you kind of have a song, and you're like, oh, could it be?
Yeah.
And it just happened.
So when you you kind of almost skipped a step there, because your parents obviously weren't musicians. So how did you get into? Did you start playing guitar, or were you?
Yeah.
Or did they give you lessons in something else, and that's kind of?
No. Well, I mean,
or were you did you just pick it up yourself and say, I want to play guitar? And
my mom is an artist and an art teacher. So my parents were always very supportive of the artistic ambitions, which can be rare, I guess. So I was lucky with that. They didn't squash any dreams I may have proposed. I never really said any out loud, but I'm sure they knew what I was trying to get into. But I remember going to drawing lessons when I was very young, enjoying them and working hard. He was definitely, he would give me homework, and he was challenging and all that, but in a good way. But I also have other interests too, like, because then I ended up stopping those to start getting into karate. And then I did the karate thing all the way through. But
are you a black belt now?
Yeah, I'm a black belt, and I taught it for a few years, and just kind of grew out of it when I would start working, going to college. But then I got I got a guitar for my 18th birthday, and I think if I'm remembering correctly, I was asking for a while before they got it for me because they wanted to make sure they weren't just gonna have to sell it after or something like that. So.
Huh. So you didn't even start playing guitar until you were 18.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty surprising, to be perfectly honest, Ben, because I'd say you're probably as good, if not a better guitar player than me, Ben. And I don't know if I appreciate that very much. I'm joking.
Well,
I've been playing. I don't know. I think my parents bought me a bass for Christmas once when I was young, and kind of how I ended up getting into music was my older brother was the guitar player, and he had a band, right? And we had a school band at my high school, and what I wanted to join that band because he met his fellow bandmates in that school band, so they would play like the halftime at the basketball games and all that.
Nice.
And so I was like, I want to do that. So I signed up for the band, and the band leader knew my brother was an amazing technical guitar player that could play solos and all this stuff. He saw me coming in as a freshman. My brother was leaving as a senior. He thought, I could get Patrick in, and he's probably just as good a guitar player as his older brother, so I'll stick him in there. And when my brother leaves high school, I'll still have this band going, right, with this great guitar player. Little did he know I didn't know how to play at all. And so so when I went in, I actually had my older brother, teach me all the songs, learned how to play, learned all the solos, all that sort of thing. And so I was put into the position of having to perform and pretend as though I already knew what I was doing before I even got into this school band. And it wasn't like the classical high school band. He wanted to play like Santana and stuff like that. That had really intense like guitar stuff in there too, right? Luckily, there was one other freshman that was in my grade that also joined. So we actually, both me and him, shared the solo thing. So he took a brunt of he was a much better guitar player than me. But that's kind of how I started playing, and similar to you, which is interesting to hear that you started out by writing. That's kind of what I was doing at first, was writing a lot. And I was taking my poetry and my written words and then turning them into songs versus starting as a song and going into words. So
it is interesting.
For those just tuning in too, we've got Benjamin Sheridan on the show here, and you're listening to WXIR Extreme Independent Radio, 100.9 in Rochester.
There's another interesting link between the both of you. You said, Ben, you were a middle child.
Yes.
Well, so are you, Pat.
Yep.
So that's another thing right there, that it's, you pull things from those around you.
So what do you have? You said you had who are your siblings?
I got 2 older brothers, a younger brother, then a baby sister.
So you really are in the middle, middle.
So do either of your older brothers play any kind of instrument? Do they do anything like that?
No. I remember being young and hearing my oldest brother up in the attic where his room was. There's a couple rooms up in the attic because there's 5 of us.
Yeah.
A lot. Packed house. And I remember he also an artist, an incredible illustrator. And he'd be up there drawing all day, all night. And singing and stuff, and we'd laugh at it, but he wasn't bad.
Yeah,
he wasn't bad. We laughed because we were immature children.
Right. So it's funny you bring up the songwriting part and the way that you write, because that's something else I've asked of musicians that come on. So when you go to write a song, especially now, because probably you've said you've written 30, right? And there's this famous quote I remember from Eddie Vedder, and he's like, a friend of mine once told me, if you don't think you're good at painting, paint 1,000 of them, and then see what you get, right? So at this point, you've written now 30 songs. I mean, that's a pretty significant catalog of songs. And obviously some of the first ones, I just revisited some of the older songs I've written recently, and I was like, oh, that's actually a pretty good song. You know? And you
interesting,
find
right.
things like that were going on in it that you didn't even realize you were in there, right?
Yeah.
But how do you approach songwriting? Because you've got 30 of them now, so that's pretty prolific. I mean,
Yeah.
not a lot of people come up with 30 individual songs, let alone ones that are something that they still wish to put into a set list that they're playing. So how do you
True.
approach it?
True. Well, quantity's not always quality.
Sure.
I'm always aiming, but and I don't always put 30 in a set list. You know, it depends. Like some of the quieter, softer songs, I can get a little self-conscious about. I guess not that I don't enjoy them, but people don't always want to hear everything that you're trying to say.
Sure.
And lyrics are important to me. They don't have to be in music. I'm not saying that, but they are to me in my music. So when I'm saying something, I'm trying to say something. So there's not everything that I always share in the typical gigs. I'm not unwilling to share, but the typical gig is in a bar on a Friday or Saturday night, and it's not always happy music, and it doesn't always have to be happy music either. But there's certainly songs that I leave off. But to get a little more closer to your question, the way I approach it honestly is a little bit unknowingly, but it is a subject I do very much enjoy thinking about. I've even done like a few workshops at places like the Brainery and stuff on it, just because I very much enjoy talking about it, because it is a little bit of a mystery, and I enjoy seeing what other people do as well.
So you've hosted songwriting like classes
Yes.
at the Brainery?
Yeah, I used for over a year. I had a monthly workshop, and then I had a few here and there at the Brainery, which I might restart again.
Well, you let me know when you
I
do
will.
that. I know the guys over at the Brainery, or girls, I should say. Over
Yeah,
at the
they're
Brainery,
wonderful.
The ladies.
Very well, the ladies,
The ladies.
over at the Brainery very well, because I've done like a cider class with
Yeah.
them. We've got a drawing class thing coming up, which is that particular place is such an awesome idea. Just
Yeah.
an adult learning center that
Yes.
not meant to be an adult learning center. It's this fun thing to do. Versus, and I think that's it's just brilliant. I don't know
Brings the
where that
community
idea.
together.
I want to get Danielle. I think is the founder of it on the show here too, so we
Great
can
idea.
talk with her, because
Perfect date
I
night
want to know where
ideas.
that
Yeah.
idea came
And it's
from,
all
because it's
encompassing,
brilliant.
because you can host all sorts of classes.
Yeah,
and
like-
people have interests in stuff that they just don't even know how to learn
Yeah.
about.
Yes.
Yeah, like
Songwriting. I mean, how
specialized stuff
that would
that-
be something I would take too, just to
Yeah.
It's
learn
pretty
how
cool.
that works.
So, what's interesting about what you said there was the attention to lyrics. And how old are you, Ben? Do you want to say that on the radio, or
33.
Okay,
Happily
33. So-
33.
so? I'm going on. So in
76.
that, is that what that
Wait,
sounded
how
like?
old are you?
It
I
sounded
don't
like
remember.
76.
Yeah.
57.
But
63.
so lyrics used to be super important, especially when I was a teenager. I mean, it was Nirvana, Pearl Jam. There was like Blind Melon, and the lyrical content of what they're saying was as much as important, and the poetry that was within it was as important, if not more important, than necessarily the music that was behind it. And what I'm seeing more of now is this machine of pumping out songs that you can immediately identify with, you can immediately sing along with, and I find myself doing it too.
Yep.
There's good stuff, even the Americana stuff that's supposed to be like a reinvention of the folk of like Bob Dylan, like that sort of era, and this authentic storytelling thing seems to me to be lacking in that category. And what I'm finding when I play to audiences, especially within the last probably 5 years, is that it gets lost. The people don't tend to have the attention. I don't know even know if it's the attention span, or they just don't want to have something more complicated than something they can kind of just tap their beat or tap their feet to. And I'm wondering if you experience kind of the same thing, as we're like I said, we have some sort of like connection, me and you, with our
Yes,
songwriting.
I do feel you. I do feel you, and I do understand. I just also understand all 7 sides or 76 sides, maybe. You know, they certainly they fit a system. They have a system, and it works for them. It makes them a lot of money. You know, they're a profit machine, like even a mechanism.
Yeah.
It is a mechanism.
And
Is that
they make their money,
foreshadowing?
and it
You
works,
are
and
you
it-
are a writer.
and
You just put foreshadowing
and
into
I-
it.
Very, very smart.
I'm confused. I don't know what you're talking about. But you know, it works, and it makes people happy, and maybe it is an attention thing, right or wrong. You know, people
Sure.
put connotations behind things you say, but you know, it works, and I feel you, and I hear you.
Well, so I don't know if I'm necessarily even saying that it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's the case, you know.
There's a formula.
because
There's
obviously
a formula
There's
to the
there's an
music that comes out.
understood,
It's
formula.
it is, and you can put any song on. In my case, you can put any song on, and I'll tell you exactly how it happens, how
Yeah, so
how
Sarah-
the story works.
Sarah teaches spin classes.
I teach a lot of
Okay.
fitness classes,
so
and
she
all of the
always has to
music.
come up with playlists and
is-
things.
I teach a variety of classes, but all the songs, it's the same exact formula every single time. So I can tell what's going to happen at any given moment
Sure.
the minute the song is.
So-
So there's no meaning behind. It's just words repetitively happening and
Yeah.
rhythms
And-
repetitively
and-
happening.
And so, just for those just tuning in here, we've got Benjamin Sheridan, or Ben Sheridan, here on 100.9 WXIR Extreme Independent Radio, and this is Infiltrate Radio you're listening to. So, one of the things I've noticed too is that, again, I don't think it's bad because I'll listen to it. I think sometimes the escapism of a piece of music is what makes it great. Like a great Pink Floyd record. I mean, there's something to
Yes.
be enjoyed of it, even if you don't fully understand what it is you're listening to right from the start. Right, even if it's just sonically, this is something that is entertaining to me, and you could sit there and have your eyes closed and listen to it, and it changes over time, I guess, what the meaning is, which is funny that, you know, referencing my old songs that I've written as well, that, you know, I get to play, or I played recently. I'm like, oh, that's actually good. There's some interesting stuff that I didn't realize I had in my songs. And
yeah.
so, now, again, Ben, not that there's anything wrong with having that. That sounds like an old man thing to say. Not that
know.
there's anything wrong.
No,
with
but
it.
I feel like
But-
it goes back to the nursery rhymes of being younger, and
Yeah.
there's something very comforting.
There's a
in the-
lot more of that
right,
now.
but there's comfort in that.
Or maybe not. Maybe I'm just getting older. I'm like, oh, the music these days, these kids are playing.
Well, there was,
you know.
we lost the guitars a little bit. It's funny how long guitars have been around when there's so many instruments, really.
And the voice itself, because whose voice is authentic?
But you know, it turned to party music a little bit. But you know, I've seen maybe a little bit of a trend again. And like, you know, like for example, even the Kendrick Lamar
Yeah.
album with Damn, and he got a Pulitzer Prize
Yeah.
for his words in it. You know, and
Yeah, that's
still,
true.
That can still be, you know, considered party music or hip hop or whatever you want to label it as. But that could fit that mold that we're talking about. So maybe there's a change coming. But you know, and how you say it, just don't waste my time. You know, just say something.
Yeah.
Say something.
Yeah, I really think that hip hop too is I don't know what's going on with it right now. There's a lot of little so and so that are out there, and I'm like, and I grew up in Queens, so like hip hop is kind of in my heart. And so when I listen to some of the rap music that's coming out, like Kendrick Lamar, I dig a lot. You know, even I keep calling him Donald Glover, but what is his what is his
Childish Gambino.
Childish Gambino. Is his
Oh,
name.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Childish Gambino.
But we saw
Yeah.
him. So Ben, we
That's
got
a
we got
whole
a
thing
chance
right
to
now.
go to the Grammys because it was in New York, right? Which was
Yes, I saw.
a cool
I haven't spoke to you
experience
since then.
Yeah.
as a musician to like go down and see what that whole thing is about, right?
It was.
And I think that the pre-show was great, and you said guitar was disappearing. That's what kind of brought that to my mind, that experience at the Grammys. And there was not a single rock band in the televised
No,
version
nobody
of
played
the
an instrument.
Grammys. And I don't know if everyone
Interesting.
realized that happened.
No, of course they don't,
Probably
because
not.
they want to
None.
see the. It's the lights and it's the show.
No, but Kendrick Lamar is good.
but he
he's good.
he
And-
performed though. It was a performance.
And as a matter of fact, as an almost year-old man,
Yeah.
I
76.
also enjoyed
That's
the.
76, right?
I also enjoyed
76.
the Cardi B and Bruno Mars performance as well. It was good. He's a good musician.
He is, but it was very '90s esque what he did. He pulled out this like '90s.
There is the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, and it
some
was-
kind of something.
you know,
Yeah,
but
there's
he's
some-
young, so
They're
for
trying
him
to bring back
do that,
the 80s. So it's funny too because the when I was a teenager, there was the whole bringing back the 70s or bringing back the
Yep,
the
the
60s
bell-bottoms,
thing,
yeah.
right? But now it's the 80s, and that's when I was growing up. And I'm like, why would you want to bring back the 80s? I mean, Phil Collins was there.
no, it was more the
Madonna
hair.
was there.
The hair was awful. Everybody's
The
senior
high-waisted
picture looked like they
jeans
were
and the-
45 years old.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
the problem.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you mentioned that you're from a lyrical background, because I feel like your songwriting is it takes a certain level of attention when you're listening to it, especially if someone's just hearing you just for the first time. Your lyrics are intricate. So if someone's not listening to you, while musically also it's interesting, it's not just something you'll find the beat right away, where necessarily. But I listen.
feel you, yeah.
I listen to you, and I really enjoy your music, and I find that those type of musicians nowadays, when they're playing out, tend to have audiences, especially if you're playing in bars and stuff, that it's a struggle almost.
It can be. It definitely can be. And it just well, I mean, to speak a little polarly, if that's a word,
Sure.
It makes you tougher, or it breaks you.
Yeah.
Just are you playing for applause, or are you playing because you had like I kind of mentioned before, because you have something to say, or because you love it, or because you just want to share a little bit of your love with other people. As long as you're doing you in the end and you're not messing with anybody,
Yeah.
then rock on.
That was a ding saying that was right.
That was right. Like, yes.
Well, that can't be right.
That answer is correct.
A perfect point. So we've got Ben Sheridan in the studio today, and this is WXIR Extreme Independent Radio. Do you like that?
It's
That
extreme.
version of Extreme.
I did like
Radio.
that.
So,
Yes.
and I'm digging the beard, Ben.
Thank you, sir. It took me 40 years to grow.
Oh.
Just a mere 40 years.
I'm only 33.
That's excellent. So, just so you know, we're gonna have Ben here coming up in a few minutes playing another song for you. And if you want to hear that song and listen to the rest of the interview that we've got going on, especially the waster of time part, Ben, is what I'm
we haven't
most
gotten to
interested
that
in.
point yet.
But your second
It's my whole
song,
life.
your second song, 5 minutes. If you want to hear the rest of it, be sure to download our Infiltrate Radio podcast on your favorite podcast distribution mechanism.
Or app.
And up next, we've got some tunes, but if you want to hear the rest, download it on your favorite podcast mechanism.
Or app.
All right, Ben. So that's the end of the radio show. So now we're into podcast mode. So it's okay to curse too. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
All language is allowed.
I forgot one, but I had to
Yeah.
watch like, just
So,
one moment. So that's actually good.
But that's
Yeah,
perfectly fine. So I know you've got some shows coming up. So this is airing on July 12th. You got anything after that you want to throw out there?
Organization.
Yeah, don't worry about it at the moment. But you're playing shows all over town, pretty much, right?
Yeah, like I know I have Friday. I'm out in Williamson.
So this might air after that. You're playing it in Bark.
Yeah,
right?
Bar Craft
Cider.
Cider Works. Cider, yes. Sorry. Sorry. Oh my god.
Yes.
They know my mom.
Yeah, you've
My
played.
mom teaches out in Williamson.
Who knows your mom? Yeah.
I don't. I
Jake.
could get better with their names. Well, they'll
that's
definitely know her, but like one of them, maybe he has kids, right?
Yes.
I think she teaches or taught them.
Huh.
But because she's been there, next year's her like 20th and last year there.
Can I ask you something too? Because I've never played out there. Maybe I should ask them to play out there too. That would be fun.
Ask you,
Oh,
for you to play out there.
You really should. It's
Edinburgh?
So what kind of like
It's a-
crowd is there?
It's a local spot. You know,
Is it?
middle-aged, also some younger people. And also it's a good time to ask too because
Do you
they
play?
open up Saturdays as
Do you
well as
play in the
Fridays
like
now.
bar area that they
Yes.
got there? Or
Yeah, they so it's in Barcraft Ciderworks and it's at Lagener Farms.
Yep.
If I'm saying it correctly. And I've been playing there for a few years, and at first, I mean, it was nice before, but it was a little bit tight.
right?
And,
Yeah, because they just redid their whole thing,
and then
right?
they just opened it up, and it just looks fantastic. It's spacious, and so they give you a nice little corner to play, and they give you an amp and a mixer too. I always just bring my own stuff though, because I know what I'm working with.
So you get like just basically people from Williamson kind of coming down
Yes,
and hanging
I'll
out.
get,
And,
like the girlfriend
That's interesting.
and maybe my parents because
Yep.
they're always showing up. But that's usually it. Every now and then I will get like somebody or two
decent
people.
crowd. I don't think I've ever
coming out.
hung out in Williamson, so I don't know what the crowd
Well,
looks
we've
like
been
there.
to Embark.
Yeah,
It's a
so
been in there.
place.
So here's-
well, that's a good idea.
here's what I like about Embark is that before Sam and I opened Muller's, right? We had gone down there to taste some of the ciders before they had actually opened their cidery.
Oh, okay.
So we got to taste everything they were
Yeah.
launching before they launched.
Wow.
Yeah.
So kind of like when we were opening,
They were opening.
That's
so we kind of have this
cool.
kinship,
That is
Yeah.
nice.
you know.
No way, I didn't know that.
And I had brought my kids down, so
Yep,
they
I
were
remember
playing
that,
in
yep.
the playground in the back. I
We
was
drank our way
There's
through
a
that whole
playground
year.
in the back.
Yeah. There's
I know.
and they have like they just have
Dangerous.
vegetables. They have like apple orchards in the back. Like there's,
Yeah.
I love that shit because I grew up in the city, man, in New York City. There's no apple orchards. There's
Way
no
different.
peach orchards. Like
Yeah.
just to be out
So
in
to
that
pork.
and to pick something off of a tree and eat
Yeah.
it is
Yeah,
is,
you're fascinated with that stuff.
is unbelievable
Yep.
to me.
Yeah.
So. But that's why I have this kind of like kinship with them. And I like what they're
That's
doing.
great.
You know, they've got a family business. They're growing fruit. They add that stuff to cider. Some of the cider makers have problems with like other cider makers adding stuff to their ciders, which is a whole nother
I didn't know about that
thing.
Okay.
Like this
I can also see that like some like purists
Yeah,
or
like very-
something
Yeah.
like that, like a little maybe
Yeah.
he's old school. Not that there's anything wrong with
right. You like how I added
Yeah.
that in? Not that there's anything
It
wrong
is.
with that.
It's that way with everything, though.
But I like those. I like
What if
Jake.
people obsess over like how much creamer I put in my coffee?
Right.
Listen, this is not for
That's
you. it's
even
for
another
me.
argument is the black coffee versus the
Yeah.
you know
Yeah,
it's
it's
I
like
can't
what,
drink.
like so.
with
I
everything.
grew up on like Dunkin' Donuts,
I have feelings. on
light and
this.
sweet.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's fine. Do you?
Yeah, exactly. Do you put out your product, whatever it is?
So that's really awesome. So maybe I got to ask those guys if I can go out there and just play one day because I think that'll be a lot of fun. What
Certainly.
when
and
you're
I
playing
can-
this Friday?
Mitzi Lagener.
Huh? Do you want to
That's
do
my
a gig
contact
together
number.
over there?
Of course I do, Pat.
That would be amazing.
Want to show up on Friday as well?
That might be
Wait,
tough.
do you have a
Could I do
3-hour
that?
set?
Yeah.
It's a 3-hour. He needs some help.
Could I do that?
It's a 3-hour
It's
set.
up to you, man.
Are you
there's,
okay
there's
with-
also no pressure.
Would you be okay with driving out there?
You'd also only have to bring your axe, man.
I don't have to work on Friday. I'm off.
It would only increase my enjoyment of the evening.
If I don't have to drive home and I can drink, I
That
would
would
be
be really
happily
fun.
there.
You know how unorganized I'm professional I am.
Yeah.
I'll hit you up with the details once I wrap my head around them.
Yep, an hour before the
Do
gig.
you
so
have-
I have
Ways
just
away.
enough time to get.
You know,
To get out there. That's perfect.
Just on time.
I think
Yeah.
we just set up a gig right now.
Sounds like
I
a
think that's
great
my
idea.
favorite type of. My
Oh,
favorite
yeah,
type of gig.
that's,
I think
that
that's
sounds like
actually
fun.
how. What was the name of the winery? Fulkerson Winery kind of happened. It was
Yeah.
like a few days beforehand, but that was so much fun. Remember, I remember listening to was it Fiona Corinne
Fiona,
was
yeah.
playing, and me and you were just drinking a bottle of wine,
Yeah.
like just
Yeah, when
hanging
we were
out there.
talking earlier, I was remembering her CD release when we were.
Yeah.
You brought some kind of dirty bottle, and we were drinking that. It's warm.
It happens. It
That's it.
happens.
Warm.
I like to
Yeah.
bring the flask in the.
You know.
in the
I think
armpit.
there was
Yeah.
also that. It was an evening.
I had. Oh, you know what?
I it's a little fuzzy, but I mean,
yeah.
there was some drinking.
There's always some drinking.
There is.
So
That's the way it is.
So that sounds amazing. So what I'm thinking here that we do, Ben, is we hear another song. I'd like to get a little bit deeper into
the life of Ben.
the life of Ben.
It's dangerous.
So
It's okay.
so do you want to play another song now before you have your next drink?
You know what? That second one went down about twice as quick as the first, so that might not be a bad idea.
And then
We're
we'll,
gonna get all
we'll
the
move on.
secrets.
We'll
I
talk,
didn't,
and
I
then
didn't feel it,
and then
I saw it.
you don't have to perform anymore.
You
after
didn't know
that.
what kind of layer you were walking into.
So this song
Yes,
is
this
called
Apple
what?
thing
Five,
is,
5
5
minutes?
minutes. Yeah. So the first one was about when they're both about the same girl because she's everything, but that last one was the most recent one, unfortunately, and it's the negative one. But this is the first one when we were a little bit newer, and this is my obsessive love song for her.
I dig it. I also want to talk about your tattoos there.
Oh yeah,
But-
Anytime.
We'll hear a song first. So this is 5 Minutes by Ben Sheridan. And to all you podcast listeners, now you definitely have to donate $5. You can mail them to
Me.
yeah, just Google our address and you'll find it.
And you only have 5
Yeah,
minutes.
and I'll give
to do it.
$2.50 to Ben Sheridan.
Something like a centerpiece that's still nice to keep in your back pocket for a rainy day. And I'll figure it out in not too long and slide right in where I belong. Surrender to the illusion that we're gonna make it through, whether or not we do. And I feel it coming in not too long. Just sometimes sing a song. I believe, so tell me everything. Tell me this is what it seems. Lie to me, tell me anything. Tell me life is but a dream. Tell me every little thing.
throw tomorrow to the wind and give me that good, good sin. 'Cause you know it takes two to howl at the moon. So hands up and stand up straight. I'll get there in time, but I'll be rolling in late. And I feel it coming and not too long. Just can't see it being wrong. I believe, so tell me everything. Tell me this is what it seems. Lie to me, tell me anything. Tell me life is but a dream. Tell me every little thing. And surrender to the illusion that we could never learn. We'll lay there and watch him burn.
Ooh.
Thank you.
So now you've got me interested,
Hiya.
Ben. So 5 seconds,
Minutes.
or 5 minutes, I mean.
Not that fast.
So this girl, I know you said that she was pretty an important part of your life, right?
true.
Up to this. Now
Yeah.
we've got 2 songs to prove it, Ben.
I know, it's
So-
crazy.
So now
It happened.
at this point in your life, does it still stay of importance, or are those now just songs that are in the wind, as it were?
I don't know. They're still important. The first one was only maybe a month or 2 ago.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and then that one was like maybe about a year ago. 5 minutes was 5 minutes a year ago.
So the chord progression is really interesting on that first one, because it's a kind of a deep.
It hangs out in C for a while,
Yeah.
and then it just switches for a second and goes right back to it.
Yeah, it's not the
Pretty much
usual.
just chills in C the whole time.
Not the usual love song progression that you'd get. Usually it's just very happy, like ding ding ding, I'm in love. Yeah,
Almost like
sort
the
of thing that
chords of the
happens.
first one. That's not
Sure.
not
So-
happy.
So how did you meet this? Can I get into that at all?
Oh yeah, that's fine. I mean, you're just basic stalking. You know, your basic online stalking.
Okay.
Well,
It's true love.
but yeah, you know, it worked for me anyway. But now we worked together several years ago, and I always thought she was cute, and apparently that was mutual. But you know, there was an age difference, and I was also dating somebody, and she may or may not have been. It just wasn't the, you know, our timing is kind of impeccable. Like there's many moments that happen where you're just like, man, like this, just like things just line up, and it just makes, like, I don't have anything specific to tell you, but it makes us stop sometimes. You
Yeah.
know, there's a whole timing thing where it just makes you like believe that it's right. And the timing was not right then, but then shoot, I would say 3-4 years later, she just started popping up into my my feed. You know, just because like everybody else, my face is always probably in one of these screens that are sitting right here next to me. And she just started popping back up. I'm like, she's cute, Dave. You know, and apparently at the same time, I was in hers, and she even made a comment. So I sent a little feeler message, you know, because she has an incredible voice. I could see her blushing right now saying that, but she has a great voice, and she was singing and did quite well in the Lovin' Cup Idol things that they have on Monday nights in the winter, spring, and
Yeah. I think I tried out for that once.
Okay. Nice.
Which is such a weird thing for me to do. I'll
Yeah,
tell you, Ben.
right?
What a weird thing for
You
me
probably
to
have
do.
a million people that
It's
when you're playing like, yo,
way-
you should go try out for this and try out for that.
No one said that to me.
Oh,
I
okay.
just decided that it was so outside of my comfort zone to do that sort of thing
It's admirable.
that I needed to do it.
Yeah.
And I immediately realized I got off stage, and there was one individual that was pretty regular at Lovin' Cup, and he said, I don't know why, but every time you get on stage and perform, I don't want to root for you. That literally was the words that came out of his mouth. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much what I expected. But I did try it, and I was like, that was actually a pretty good learning experience,
you.
because the very thing that I didn't think I would want out of that situation, that's kind of what, and it wasn't because of his comment. It was just more like me being up there trying to beg for people to
culture.
accept me and
It's a thing.
and whatever. So it was one of those individuals. So you met then?
Yeah, so, you know, she was I just sent her, you know, I think I got sick or something. So I sent her a message. It was like, you know, I can't come this week, but do well so I can come next week. And I got a positive enough response to get me to go the following Monday, but I almost didn't because, you know, I needed that that encouragement from, you know, like a proper wingman. So I hit up one of my friends, and as I'm walking to my car, he hits me up and tells me he can't make it. And so I turn around and I'm walking back into my apartment like, oh, guess I don't have to go, you know, because that's the easier choice. So it's the better one.
Sometimes you have to put yourself in that uncomfortable position and
And
just deal with it. And it's
exactly.
uncomfortable and it's
Yes.
awful, but it helps.
And so I did, and it paid off. She kept me.
So you dated for a little while, obviously, right? But,
Yeah, it's been
So-
approaching a year and a half.
Oh, so you're still with her now?
Yes.
Year and a half
Yep.
later. So do you find that relationship is what you thought it was going to be right from the start?
No, I don't know much of anything, so I try to just not even have expectations.
Sure.
But I knew what I wanted. I've had more than enough relationships in my past, and not many of them have ended in a favorable or amicable way.
Right.
And so, you know, and just like, you know, and I'm almost 70 now.
Sure.
So
Well,
like,
I'm approaching 36.
yeah.
87. Soul 87.
Well, yeah, 76
Something in my
was at the
throat.
beginning of this.
Right, it's
He's
the
probably
soul.
now at least 80.
It's the age of the soul.
I age exponentially, so
It's the soul
You know.
age of experience and
right.
You know.
But so I kind of wrote it off. I was just doing me for a while. And like, not like I wasn't spending time with people, but I was just being honest that I wasn't really looking for anything. But then, I don't know, there's just something about this one. And I guess I was right.
That's what happens. It happens that way.
So, how did she do in the competition?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. You know, that was also, say what you will, but that was also the time where I was heavily introduced to tequila. So my memory is not always
fuzzy.
like quite on point. People shouldn't have like Monday deals like that. It's inappropriate.
yeah.
But
Sure, especially like
memories
she
are
did
fuzzy.
very well. Her voice is incredible, but you know, it just turns into.
Do you want
know,
to you can name drop too? If,
I don't even. Oh, her name's Marissa Bland.
Okay.
And she's incredible. And actually, you know, you should really see her for is yoga. She's an incredible yoga instructor. And actually, we've been linking up. We got this new thing, acoustic yoga.
Huh.
Where she
Oh yeah, I saw
teaches,
your posts about that.
It's a lot of fun, man. She speaking of lead skills, she does her yoga class, and I noodle around based on the
Fantastic.
vibe of the room.
Yeah.
You know, I'm either doing just like letting a note ring on a loop or whatever, or I'm doing some things if it's a little more intense. And then the shavasana at the end is an extended one where I just kind of do some wild loops. Like,
love that. I love that.
15,
That's
20
pretty cool.
minutes. And it's a lot of fun. I was nervous because, lead is not my forte. I'm a little out of my comfort zone, but I'm having so much fun and it flies by. I can't wait for the next one.
So where does that happen?
Right now we're over at New Movement. This next one, it's the last Sunday of each month. I believe 4:30 to 5:30, or it's 5:30 to 6:30, somewhere around dinner time.
So basically, you're the musical accompaniment while she
Teaches. Yes.
teaches and leads it.
Yes, I
That's
stay
right.
in the background and then really only come more steadily into play at the end when people are kind of getting a little more heady and a little more relaxed.
Yeah.
That would be awesome because
That would be fun. Maybe I'll go out to that because we
Yeah.
used to do hot yoga, like Bikram yoga and stuff like
so
that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm definitely
know what I'm talking
not
about then.
as flexible anymore.
And
Ben,
you
but
don't need to be. You do your yoga.
I'm like a
while
bunch
you're
of
there.
sticks coming out of a log. If that visually,
Well,
I don't know about that.
that's
Now?
better. I can't. I don't even think I have the words to describe what I look like.
but I think it would be fun to like come out to that
Yeah.
and see
You might enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you again, man, for coming on the show here. So,
Please,
one of
thanks
the
for
things I
having me.
wanted to ask you about, and I think I've asked you about this at a previous show, and I don't remember, but your tattoo there on your arm.
Yes, the moon phase is
So
what
it's the
half of it.
phases of the moon.
Half of it,
So it
yes.
starts up at your wrist, and that is the new moon, right? Or is that what is that
That
considered?
is
Where there's-
that is the full moon
so the full moon
up here by the wrist, and then it goes down into the
is that the,
the
new
new
moon?
moon at the bottom. Yes,
Where there is no moon.
Yes.
So what's the origin of that? Because I can tell the audience here that's listening is that you are not completely covered head to toe in tattoos.
No, just a,
And so
just a
it-
few.
I don't think you go willy-nilly with the tattoos. So
No.
there's got to be some sort of meaning to that, especially because it's visible a lot.
Well, there is, and it's actually almost funny before I get all the way to it, but I've just been a little lazy about making a phone call and scheduling it, but I have plans in my own mind for the next one, which is going to be the same size circle. It's some kind of coin. I think it might be a nickel, but I want to have two more over here. But one of them being just they're just filled in with color. One of them is going to be blue, and one of them is going to be brown, and they're going to represent my dog's eyes. So I figured that's cool because nobody's really gonna know, and they'll kind of
Yeah.
the circle thing will work. But these, it's a few different things. Like honestly, one thing, the easiest thing to say is just aesthetically, I like it. I think it fits well going down the arm. But then there also is definite meaning to it. Like I got 7, because you can break the phase of the moon, into a lot of different, numbers. But I have 7 of them here because there are 7 people in my family. So there's that kind of meaning. I like the minimalisticness of it. And then also just all the different things that the moon does. It really affects a whole lot of life, and I don't even know all the different things, but I mean tide and moods and just all these things. The moon,
Do you like science, Ben?
I do,
I like
and that
science,
doesn't
but-
mean I'm good at it. Well, the second they turn science into half math, half science,
Sure,
like,
you start to-
like I'm good. See you later.
Me too.
I'll be in the
Lose
art
track of
room. I'll be in the art
Yeah.
room
See,
painting
they say
something.
that when you start to grow old, I think it's a comedian that says it. When you start to get on in life, you start to like World War II movies and Discovery Channel documentaries.
Wait,
a
but
lot-
what's
a
your
lot more.
excuse for like 10 years ago when you were doing that?
Well, I'm like a wine.
You were just
so
Animal
I
Planet.
grow.
Yes, thank you. That's what I'm saying. Aging like a fine
Yes.
wine. You
And
gotta
I've
put
been-
your hand up.
I've been
to
really
tell
old
you.
since I was
Yeah.
a 1-year-old
Yes.
wine.
A 1-year-old wine.
Yes, I started 10 years ahead
You
of everyone.
have begun the
Sarah.
transition to old man.
Have
but that
I?
was yes.
Is it the smell or is it?
a little, a little bit of A, a little bit of B?
All right, so
Mothballs
I
and
think-
hard candy.
the peppermints in the bowl on the coffee
And the
table.
Sanka. Thank you.
A Sanka and a fish sandwich. So, Ben, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I've been wanting to have you on the show since we started, and I really appreciate you because we had to reschedule. I know there were some
Yes, I
issues
appreciate it.
involved, and you played some music for us, and we're coming up on an hour here. So I want to thank you again, man, for coming out and being on the show and
Hey, thanks for having me.
drinking with us and playing some music, and you know, hopefully we'll be doing this into the future, and we
Yeah.
can have you back on, and
Love to.
if you're willing to.
Of course.
All
I
right.
would be happy to.
All right, so you are listening to WXIR, and thank you for listening to the show. We'll see you next Thursday. Thanks for tuning in. You are listening to 100.9 FM WXIR in Rochester, New York.
Extreme Independent Radio.
Worldwide, you can find us online at 1009wxir.com.
Infiltrate Radio.